pronouns then?
Should I?
I don't know. Should I take mine off?
Wait, can I rename?
Yeah, you can rename yourself anything.
Wait.
Too much power. Too much power, never mind.
Wait, I got an idea. What if you named yourself with kids with?
Yeah.
Because like you're left to me, right? Like on your screen?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
Well, no, you're to the left of me on my screen.
Oh no. I guess it can't work because you're to the left. Because it like works for me, but I think on your screen it's divorced parents, kids with, right?
Yeah, it's divorced parents, kids with she, her, hers. That's so funny.
He.
What if the whole time I have my name as Caleb and you have yours?
Okay. I don't even think that it shows up, to be honest. Like the recording, I don't think.
You know what? We thought it was funny. That's what matters. Let me actually make it beautiful. Let's do this.
Okay. All right. What a way to start the podcast.
Welcome to Kids with Divorced Parents.
So we're doing a lot.
Ghost. I look okay. Do I look okay or do I look like a ghost?
Oh no, you're okay. If you like move forward, you get really pale. Okay, no, never mind.
How my nose look?
Hundreds of thousands of people just saw up your nose. What if like there was a huge ass booger in your nose and you just like didn't notice? Okay, so welcome to Kids with Divorced Parents. We're doing a little bit different show. We're on Zoom instead of in person because Licia's at home and
in my hometown.
Yeah. But yeah, this is just going to be a little shorter of a podcast, hopefully. I feel like let's aim for 30, but yeah. Okay. What are we? Do you want to explain what we're doing in this podcast?
Yeah, but can I show off my sweatshirt first?
Yeah.
Released the last podcast. So I saw the front bottoms this week, and this is the merch they were selling. Okay, first of all, here's.
Oh my god, that's so awesome! Wait, did you have that personally done or did you buy it? Like
that was the merch they were selling. This was like the tour sweatshirt they had.
Really? That's so fucking cool. You know what's funny? Look at what I have as my.
I love that. I love that. That's so cute. Dang.
Dude, that's honestly so weird. Wait, when did you get that?
Like 2 days ago. Well, what did it go? Saturday.
That's so weird. Monday? That's Friday. So weird because I just changed my wallpaper.
When I just listing days of the week. Friday? Monday?
Wednesday. Thursday? Midday Sunday. But yeah, that's so weird. Yeah. That's so weird that you got that sweatshirt. And I switched my wallpaper. What are you doing?
Making music.
Okay, so what are we doing?
We're talking about therapy today.
Yes. So
yes. Kids with divorced parents in therapy.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about like our therapy experiences. Just to keep it a little short or on the shorter side, hopefully.
Cut to me 30 minutes sobbing.
And the other 30 minutes of us just getting sidetracked.
Yeah, going, oh my god, never guess this. Can I make one more sidetrack really quick?
Yeah.
This is the first time people on the podcast are seeing me forward facing. I'm like thinking about it too much. I'm like,
oh my god, you're fine.
This is my childhood bedroom.
Wow, I like the blue.
Thanks.
Yeah. Where's all the posters, or is it in Temple?
They're all at my apartment right now, so this looks very barren, but I have 2 beds.
Oh my god. You're living it up, queen.
I can choose which one I sleep in.
Your bedroom looks boring.
I know.
Okay, so do you want to start first or shall I?
You start first, because this was kind of your idea, and I feel like you have a trajectory plan.
Okay. So, I think Josh and I talked about kind of like our therapy history on one of the League of the Wings podcasts, the other podcast, a little bit, but it wasn't for like this is the better one. This is the better one.
Yeah.
But it was like about mental health. We were talking about how Simone Biles like was experiencing like mental health problems and like sexual assault like during the Olympics or like in that atmosphere. So we kind
Mhm.
of naturally trailed off to like our therapy experiences and stuff. But we didn't really expand on it. We only spent like 5 minutes. And I just thought it would be like a cool idea for a podcast episode to like mainly talk about it instead of just being in like a little segment of time because I feel like therapy in general is not really talked about that much or it's
Yeah.
just starting to get talked about a lot
And all
more.
the backlash and shit that Simone Biles got for talking about it.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about that.
Yeah, like it's just crazy the atmosphere of mental health and stuff, but I feel like it's changing for the better, or at least in the last like couple of years or so. There's still like a lot of weirdness or like I don't want to call it hate, but like awkwardness around it, I guess, or
The
uncomfortable.
stigma, for sure.
Yeah. And I just feel like it's changing. Like 10 years ago, like I feel like you would get called like a quote unquote like little bitch if you went to like therapy and stuff and people
Mhm.
would like make fun of you or whatever. Or maybe not even 10, but like 15 or so years ago, it was kind of like frowned upon to go to therapy or like you looked weak going to therapy, I think.
Yeah. I
And
also think it's different for men and women. So, like, can I ask you, when did you start going to therapy?
in middle school,
In
like
middle
seventh
school?
grade. Yeah. Um
Did you
so
tell anybody, or was it very private?
I didn't tell anyone. Like it was just between like my parents and I, and then maybe like a few other family members as well. But so like I started going like seventh, eighth grade. I think it was like seventh grade. And because I was just dealing a lot with school and stuff, and I was like so hard on myself. Like I just like I needed to get like straight A's and stuff. And if I didn't, like I would have like a breakdown. And I just was dealing with like a lot of anxiety in general. So like I went during seventh and eighth grade for a little bit. I don't know how long I went, but I've kind of been off and on since then. So I went back to therapy after my parents got divorced
Mhm.
and stuff. And then I went for like a while. I think it was like a year, a little over a year or so. And then I stopped going. And then I went back 12th grade for anxiety and stuff. Um and then I was there for like I think February until right before college started.
Mhm.
So it was just like off and on for like a few months. And it wasn't like for an extended amount of time, but for like the reasons that I went was because like I have a lot of like anxiety issues that I just like break down and like I can't control. And like
Mhm.
one of the ways that I like normally, if I have bad anxiety, I usually just start pacing back and forth to like kind of like control it. Or like if I'm by myself, I kind of like walk in circles or whatever, because that kind of like helps me control the anxiety or like put the energy somewhere that's not my brain. Because like if I exercise or kind of distract myself, that's kind of how I dealt with it. But that's kind of
Mhm.
like the experience that I had with it. How
Period.
about how when did you start going to therapy?
Um, so mine was kind of on and off like yours was. I started in eighth grade when my parents got divorced, but it was like one or two sessions.
Mm,
And then I kind of like let it sit for a bit. And then in ninth grade, I went back for about a year. And then I stopped for a bit. And then I did dance and art therapy for a while. And then during COVID, I started to see a therapist as well,
mm,
which was really cool. I definitely needed it most over COVID. I think it was really interesting. So I feel very comfy talking about this stuff. I like this stuff. This like works well
mhm,
for my brain. Someone who has experienced both on Zoom therapy and in person therapy, if it wasn't art or dance therapy, like I didn't get a whole lot from it because it was just like talk therapy, which is
Mhm.
like kind of like basic therapy, like so how does it make you feel kind of therapy,
Yeah.
and that like just didn't really like work for me. I don't know why. I think I'm a very maybe it's I'm just like tactile ADHD human
Mhm.
that like I need to be doing something in order to feel like active in mental health, and I think part of the stigma in mental health is that like it's a very passive thing. It's like all these things are happening to me and I need somebody else to explain that to me,
Mhm.
like with diagnoses and medication and stuff like that. Whereas like with art therapy, I was able to just kind of like create and let those emotions out in that way. And I
Mhm.
always think that's kind of like why theater stuck most with me,
Mhm.
just because it was like I am feeling this way, but I can do these things to counteract that, and it's not like I have to confront it necessarily. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I went on and off for like a whole lot of different things,
Mhm.
but mostly anxiety and depression and disordered eating. So that's what it, like,
Did did you ever go on any medications to
mm-mm.
help? Okay.
Unmedicated, baby. No
So
hate to you if you're medicated. I just think it's
no,
funny, and I'm
no,
not.
I'm I'm not medicated either. I just like never liked the idea of like I just don't like the idea of medication, to be honest.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Oh my
I just
god.
like I was afraid that I was like my therapist would be like, you might like consider like anxiety medication. I'm like, that's not for me. Like I don't feel comfortable taking meds. Like it's not like anxiety solely on like anxiety and depression like medications. It's just like any medication in general. I'm like iffy. I'm like so weird with taking medication. Like even ibuprofen and stuff. Like I don't want to fucking take because like it's like I don't want my body to get immune to something, and then when I really have to like if I'm like really in pain and then like my body's used to ibuprofen, then
Your
it's
body's
like
like,
that it's not gonna work, and I'm like go through all this pain. And it's like
um, fair enough.
yeah.
I can respect that. I am just a little baby. So like sometimes like on my period, I'm like, I need it right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I still take like ibuprofen. It's not like I'm
Okay, fair
not
enough.
taking ibuprofen when I'm like in pain, but like I feel like if I can like deal with it, like just by taking a nap, like if it's a headache or something.
Okay, fair enough, fair
Yeah.
enough. I get that. I think
Yeah.
you meant you were like, I just don't take ibuprofen when I
Oh
feel.
no. I still take it. It's just yeah. I just feel like there's some people who take it for everything,
Oh yeah,
just
yeah,
like
definitely.
constantly. That was a sidetrack. What were we
I know it was. It was me and you just going. Bit, 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 bit.
talking- Um, I was gonna go somewhere. Oh wait, okay. I'm just trying to think where else we can take this as well because like I love talking about like this kind of things and stuff, and I just like making a conversation about it.
I
Yeah.
yeah, totally. So I was actually going to pursue art therapy if I didn't end up doing theater.
Oh, really?
I still think about doing it like post grad
Mm-hmm.
and like seeing what happens theater wise for me. But if not, I've always like wanted to go back and try art therapy just because I feel like it might be something I would be good at and how much it helped me.
Mm-hmm.
I think the important thing to recognize about therapy is that it is so incredibly different for everybody, and what works for me won't work for somebody else. And I remember how frustrated I felt like after going to therapy and feeling like it didn't do anything for me. It's like I just had to I had to talk about my parents' divorce in a room crying to this middle-aged woman and then not feel better afterwards. Like just be
Yeah.
like, okay, I said it. Like
Yeah.
but when I was able to express myself like physically and creatively, like that felt so much better. And I didn't feel like so heavy walking away with it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So I also did something called brain spotting. That's what I did over COVID over Zoom.
Okay.
And I really liked that. It was definitely like a more unorthodox form of therapy. Um, so basically, what it does is it's great if you have like certain childhood traumas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it uses light and your eye lines to detect like where in your brain those are locked up.
Mm-hmm.
But like with so I'm trying to like think about like explain this from the beginning, but like my brain is in 5 million different places right now. She has like this little lighter point and she would drag it across the screen. And if she saw like my eyeline switch, then
Mm-hmm.
she'd be like, there's something there. Do you have any senses? Can you use your senses to remember things? Do you remember colors, a sound, a smell? And then it like broke out of that,
Mm-hmm.
which was so cool because it felt like I didn't need to search for something. And there were things that I didn't even remember growing up
Mm-hmm.
that like seriously then affected my mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And it was nice to unlock them in that way because it felt safe and facilitated.
Mm-hmm.
It was very cool. I really enjoyed that. And I thought, oh, therapy over Zoom, that's not going to work for me. Like that's why I FaceTime my mom. But like
Yeah.
I ended up doing it and I got a lot out of it. And I think I made a lot of COVID sucked, but I
Mm-hmm.
made like a lot of personal growth because I was able to like figure that stuff out.
That's really interesting. I've never heard of that before. How long were you in therapy during that time frame? Like
Almost the full
during,
year. I would see
oh,
her bi-weekly
mm-hmm.
and I did it over the school year. So I did it like fall to spring semester.
Oh, that's really cool. When did you stop that?
When?
Yeah. Or are you still
Um,
doing it?
I'm not doing it right now. I stopped it right before the summer because I felt like I was really getting something out of it and I felt pretty good. Like at the beginning of that school year, like I just felt like really low.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of like built myself up a little bit. So then I felt like I could take a step away from it. I do think about going back because I think my judgment was a little clouded and like
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very hard to be like, oh, I'm better. I don't have to do that anymore because it is a process and it's something that you have to keep up with.
Yeah.
And it was nice to have somebody facilitate that for me instead of me just being like, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I think I should have went to therapy during COVID. Like I regret not
Yeah.
going. Like that I feel like it was a hard time for everyone. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just especially for not especially, but like with like college students and stuff and students in general, it's hard on us because it's like what do we do, you know? Like
Yeah.
how do we find motivation to actually do our schoolwork and everything and like a bunch of other stuff as well outside of it. And it was just like a crazy time too.
Yeah. You're
Just
also like
well,
left alone with yourself for a very long time.
yes.
So like I know I personally I came out over COVID,
Hmm.
which was great because it meant I had the time to like understand that, but also it was like I had known it for so long that like this had just solidified it.
Hmm.
It was
Yeah.
very weird. It's like just walked up to my mom's room and was like, Mom, I think I like girls. And she was like, Really? I was like, yeah.
What did she say in response?
She was like, Oh, okay. Fair enough. So yeah, I mean my parents were super cool about it. Like my parents didn't really
Mhm.
mind. It was just there. We just had
Yeah.
queer kids, but like um it definitely could have gone a lot worse, but it was just kind of like, yeah, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Good for you. I'm proud of you.
I feel
And it
like
was weird because I was stuck in this house. I was stuck in this room, like, and
mhm.
I was just like, you know what? I think I've been lying to myself for a very long time. And
Yeah.
it took a pandemic for me to be like, hey, friend.
Hey, I got something to tell you. It's
Oh, crazy.
but that's
Um,
really cool that they were cool about it. Yeah.
my parents are cool.
Yeah. Licia's parents certified Coolio. Um, I had like a couple things that I wanted to say, but I completely forgot about it. Oh wait, have you ever heard of horse therapy before? So
Horse therapy?
yeah,
You
like
do ride, do you ride a horse?
like fucking Janet told me about this, and she basically told me it's
I want horse therapy.
like you basically fucking talk to a therapist while like petting a horse and stuff, and basically like there's like you feel like the horse like vibrations or like whatever. I forget the exact thing about it, but it's like you're supposed to feel like connected to this horse and
I
stuff.
want to go to horse therapy. I
I
want
want
to go to horse therapy so damn bad.
I want to go just to experience it. And then
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, animals used in therapy is like a thing, like therapy
yeah.
dogs, therapy cat. My cat cannot be a therapy cat because he's an
Why?
asshole. He's an asshole. He's so mean. I'm like, I love you, and he'll cuddle for like 10 seconds. He's like,
I fucking hate you, fucking little
I
fucking
hate you. He has a Russian accent in my brain, and he calls me prison mom because we have scheduled visiting times. He's
yeah.
like, I fucking hate you, prison mom. You deserted me, and I'm like, I love you.
Please, I just want your love. Um, wait, but yeah, it was like, and then Pete Davidson, he tried like there's a funny clip of him.
Never pick the rehab you want to go to while you're high, because that's what I did. I just Googled rehab and clicked the first place that popped up. And what caught my eye about this one was their main attraction was horse therapy.
What's horse therapy?
Well, wouldn't we all like to know, Colin? I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's like when you pet horses and you look at them and like heal through their horsiness, and you pet them and you look them in the eye and you're like, you're trapped. I'm trapped. You know, we'll get through this.
Well, that actually sounds kind of nice.
It does, doesn't it? But the first day I got to rehab, guess who's allergic to horses? So, yeah, that's how poor I was growing up. I never even met a horse. I remember doing that allergy test, you know, when they like test you for dogs, cats, and grass and all that. I remember the doctor specifically asked my mom, and she was like, you know, should he be tested for horses? And she literally said, nah, he'll never see one. And then she said, we're more of a Six Flags type family.
Well, I'm sorry. That sounds like a nightmare scenario.
Because he tried horse therapy or whatever. I think it was like during when he went to rehab and stuff. And it was really funny because he didn't realize that he was allergic to horses. So like he got a very strong like allergic reaction. And it was so fucking funny. Like you should search this up or like after this podcast or whatever and just like
I'm literally gonna watch this the second we
yeah.
hang.
Like Pete Davidson her horse therapy clip. I don't know where it was. I think it might have been on SNL, but I can't remember. But he was just like, yeah, like why like I grew up in like the city, like why would I have any like reason to like see a horse? Like I would never so like they
That's
never
so funny.
and then like they yeah, but you can just watch it. It was so fucking
I
funny.
will.
But yeah,
Do you
and then
plan on going back to therapy?
yes. I don't
Did
know
it?
when, but I think nearest future. I feel
Cool.
like I am, but yeah, because like the past August and September have been like bad months mentally, but I think I'm coming out of that. But I
Good.
think it would be nice just for a few visits and stuff. But like the reasons why I kind of stopped therapy was because like I didn't like the idea of like I'm paying this person to like talk to me, so they're like forced to talk to me. Like, do they actually like
They
care about
care? Oh, Caleb, what are
like
you?
care?
It's
What?
really sad. They do care. That
Yeah,
I I applaud therapists.
yeah,
My therapist, I mean, obviously they genuinely have a care for the people that they
yeah.
like look after, and that is a lot to emotionally take on.
Yeah.
So my
I mean,
therapist, I would just perform a stand-up routine. I'd be like, my dad left, womp womp womp, and that would be like our therapy session.
that's so funny. But
Um,
not at the same time.
no,
Yeah,
it's funny.
yeah.
Um, but I think I think it's important that you recognize that
Yeah.
because your feelings are extremely valid and this person is dedicating time to help you.
Mhm. And I think I felt that mainly when I first started going, but like the last like session that I went, which was like right before college, like this summer and kind of like the spring when I went, like that kind of idea was kind of fading away. So like right now I don't feel that way anymore. But the last time in session it was kind of
Mhm.
like I had this strong like thought about like, oh, they're being paid and stuff. But then as I continued going to like see that therapist, I think it was weekly, then that idea kind of started fading away. And I was like, wow, like they actually care about me and stuff, or like care what I'm saying. And then the only reason why I kind of stopped was because like I went into college and I felt like where I was like 6, 7, 8 months ago, it's like I felt like I was a lot better and I kind of had like a better idea of it. So I was like, let me just get situated in college, and if I need to go back, then I'll go back. I just
Mhm.
wanted to like get adjusted to college first. And I just like my mental state like completely changed like the first like semester of college, because it was just like a whole new experience and stuff, and I was just like indulged with that. So like I guess I kind of put like my mental like anxieties and stuff kind of like went to the back burner, because I wasn't really feeling that strong like anxieties and stuff, or like strong emotions and stuff. And like I didn't really have any like breakthroughs the first time I went in middle school, and then the second time I went freshman year. But like during last time I went, I like found out like I disassociate a lot. And I like never realized that. And I felt like knowing that information really helped me like know know myself better, and kind of like, oh wait, when I'm feeling like this, it's like an actual feeling and not just like randomly happening, like I'm like it's
Mhm.
actually like this is I'm disassociating. And it's like, wow, I actually have
Yeah.
like something to call this, rather than just like
Well,
just
because
going through
I think,
something.
yeah, that probably was like a coping mechanism for a while too.
Yeah.
So like this is gonna sound really dark, but like my coping mechanism for a while was making myself throw up, and I was like, she was like, you no, you have disordered eating, and I was like, oh, well, that's what that is. That's funny. Um, it's not funny. It was it's breaking down things that you used to always do, but didn't necessarily realize was a bad thing.
Mhm,
So like I have like a lot of anxiety tics that were really unhealthy for my body,
mhm,
but they provided immediate relief.
mhm,
So like I think being able to figure that out, no matter how much later than when it was at its most serious,
mhm,
is so important, because then that heals the mental side of that.
mhm,
Because while I have not since done any of those physical harms, the mental effects that they had lasted longer.
mhm,
And being able to look at that and recognize that that was the way that my body was dealing with it, and
mhm,
understand that that's not healthy, did just as much good than at the time someone being like, oh, don't do that. You know what I mean?
mhm. Yeah, that makes sense. Do you think you're in a better mental state going through some of these therapies comparatively to when you just started? Like, do you think the therapy helped like kind of better understand yourself, or like better
Yeah,
understand like the
definitely.
mental?
I think that's what it did. It helped me figure myself out, because I was much better at managing the way that I handled things. So it doesn't mean that anything necessarily got easier, but I knew how to better
Mhm,
take it on, if
mhm.
that makes sense.
That makes
Like
sense.
when my parents got divorced, I was a kid.
Mhm,
Like there was no way that my brain was going to be able to process all of that.
mhm,
But now I have the tools to clean up the mess that it left,
mhm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
But
because
I went to therapy not immediately after that, but like a few months after that.
mhm,
And that was only like 2 sessions. Like I went
yeah.
once and I was like, this is what's happening. I don't know all the details, but this is what I do know. And this is how I feel about it. And it wasn't until like ninth grade that I started seeing somebody a little bit more regularly
Mhm.
about it. And then another break, and so on and so forth. It was all back and forth.
Did your mom kind of like explain it to you like after more in depth
Definitely.
after? Okay.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, it's not like even my mom knew everything at the time, just
Mhm,
because of the situation.
mhm,
Um, and it was like about more adult things that I probably couldn't have understood at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I was kept in the loop as best as she could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And did she like talk to you when you got older about exactly
Oh,
what happened?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, when I got older, it got a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I was able, it was all about my own personal understanding too, because like 8th grade, you're like 12,
Yeah.
13, somewhere like that.
You don't know a lot of things. Like you're just like figuring your like just starting to figure yourself out. Like
Yeah,
and that process takes such a long time as well.
definitely.
It's not like oh you're going to figure yourself out in like 2 seconds at that
Yeah,
age.
but it helped. It helped so much. I mean, it took a while to get to what really like helped me figure it all out.
Mm-hmm.
But just knowing that that was an option
Mm-hmm.
immediately made me feel better. It was
Mm-hmm.
definitely hard to go. I didn't want to tell anybody I was going because I felt bad about it.
Yeah.
Catholic school things, but
Okay.
um
Catholic school. Okay.
uh but it was nice to have that outlet even if it was a secret for me,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah. When I like first found out, I tell the story of the first podcast about when I first heard
Yeah, it was like the
about it was like near my birthday and stuff. But like kind of like I told my
your
therapist,
mom's sweet
yeah,
comment on the video was
oh
like,
my God. Yeah. I kind of felt bad, but like we were talking like afterwards and stuff and like about the situation and just like in general and stuff and like yeah, it was just nice to hear from my mom too and like her
yeah,
perspective of it. But like the way that I found that I had like disassociation was that like I was telling my therapist about like my reaction to when my parents told me and stuff.
mhm,
And I told them like I was like I did I felt forced to cry because I felt like that was the
mm,
correct emotion to display, but in reality, like my brain kind of shut down and I wasn't really feeling anything. Like I was just like, okay, cool, you're getting divorced. Can I go like play some video games again? Like my brain did not process what's like actually happening and stuff. And I guess like a part of that too was like I I didn't really like expect them to get a divorce at that time because there was a period like they sure have gotten a divorce like
earlier.
what earlier and stuff and they just didn't so like and like during that period before that area I'm like oh okay like cool like I didn't really expect it like oh they're like figuring or they're getting along better so like that I thought that oh since they're getting along better then they're probably like making up and not going to like fight as much so I it kind of came out of nowhere when yeah if that makes any sense
Yeah,
but like I just like I didn't really feel anything when my parents told me, so I would just like kind of force myself to cry, which was like really weird. I didn't, and like at that time, I thought like I was like a serial killer or something, or like psychotic. I was like, why am I not feeling anything? Like,
yeah.
because like
It's
something,
also a kid thing too.
yeah, and like I should be like feeling something like this is like a life-changing event. Like, why am I not like reacting
Yeah,
more to it, you know? And then I told my therapist that, and she was like, that's a completely like normal reaction to have because you're just going through like a dissociative state where your brain couldn't comprehend the emotions that was bringing to it.
how did you feel after they told you that?
The
Better?
therapist,
Yeah,
yeah, I felt like a lot better and relieved. I'm like, oh my God, there was like moments in time where like I felt that same exact thing during like different events in my life that like I should have felt like a strong emotion or I should have felt like really stressed, but my brain was so overwhelmed with stress, anxiety, and just emotions in general that I couldn't comprehend it. So it like shuts down. So I was like, wow, I can take that information and put it to other like things that happened in my life that my brain kind of shut down and made me feel this certain way. I'm like, wow, that's like a normal behavior, and I'm not like a psychotic like serial killer that's gonna
yeah,
like murder everyone. Cause like I felt like, why am I not feeling like emotions during this time, but then feeling the emotions like a couple weeks later, like strongly, or like even a couple years later after my like brain kind of like process it behind the scenes, you know? Like
Mhm.
I felt like I didn't really process my parents' divorce until like my senior year of high school. Cause I kind of just like been putting it like back, like ignoring those feelings, you know, and it all came up at once out of nowhere.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's
There's still some aspects of that that I don't think I've fully processed.
mm-hmm,
And I think as a kid, I experienced something really similar. It's not, I have to understand what's happening, I have to immediately react.
yeah.
And then you don't have any time to like understand it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the same thing, if that makes you feel any better. Yeah.
It's
Um,
it's weird our bodies do that.
yeah.
Or our
It is
brain
weird.
does it.
It's a survival mode thing,
Mhm.
I think. I don't know. Maybe that's just my thought. I
I think
also
it is
like,
too.
I
Sorry.
think, no, 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 you're fine. I think I outwardly project very confident just because I'm loud and maybe it's like a false sense of that. But
Mhm.
like then people would be really surprised when I was like, oh yeah, I have anxiety.
Mhm.
I have diagnosed anxiety, but I do.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
think maybe the overconfidence is a way that I cope with that, and it's fine because it's done me pretty well so far.
Yeah.
Um, but I think, at least in my anxiety journey,
Mhm.
there's like a lot of things that I still do, but I have ways of better managing it.
Mhm.
How do you feel about that?
I think so too. Like I feel like because like there's obviously like the past like since college there's been times where like I've been at my low and feeling like super anxious and stuff. But then I'm able to kind of better understand that anxiety where I don't let it kind of like pull me down and like uh destroy me for like a couple weeks where I can kind of climb out of that anxiety a lot easier because I just feel like I
Do
got
you hear this dog? I'm so sorry. I'm trying to.
wait, is that your dog outside or
Yes, that is our dog. Can I be back in two
yeah,
seconds?
yeah. Is it the mailman?
No,
The
no,
mailman.
Papa good. Our dog. Another dog was barking over outside.
Uh kitty cat.
Yes, this is the other one.
Other one. They look exactly the same.
They're siblings.
Franklin just looks a little bit chubbier.
He is.
uh, are they related in any way or
They're really brother and sister.
that's so cool.
We adopted them together.
uh where did you adopt them from or get them from?
We got them at just like an animal rescue center. It was like a little kitten one,
Mhm.
and they found them in a barn.
Aw.
They found you in a barn. And
What
this is
my cousin's cat, they found like the little kitten near their school, like and like a drain and stuff. Like yeah. And they like got him and like now they have him for like 3 or 4 years now. It's
wow.
crazy like where you can find cats and stuff or where they end up.
I am such a cat person. I used to think I was a dog person, and then I got these two little babies, and I just knew cat
Oh.
people.
Why do you like cats?
This, this is why. No, they're just like really like sweet. Like I always think they get like a bad rap. Like everybody's like they don't want to be social, but like look at this baby girl. Like
Mhm.
she's so lovey, and they're like kind of like sneaky and cute. They have like the craziest little personalities.
Yeah.
Right?
I think if you get a good cat, it's so good. Like, or it's such like a good feeling. Like if they're all cuddly and stuff. I just don't like
Yeah.
cats because of how much hair they have. Like if
Wow. Look at her.
like I
Look at her feet.
why is that like so perfect though? Like I feel like that's like a perfect like footprint.
Yeah, she's got the cutest little feet. She's
What were you talking about before? I forget, honestly. Huh? Do
baby.
you want to
Um,
wrap this episode up? Or do you have anything else to say?
do you have any closing remarks, and then I'll make a comment on it.
Um, I
Go
guess
see a therapist. It's good for you.
yes. Yes, I was just about to say like that's our little like that's our experience with therapists, and it's always good to see therapists because I don't know, like even if it may not work for you the first time, like there's different therapy that might and probably will work for you. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I want to thank you for being vulnerable with me. I know it's a hard thing to talk about, so I appreciate you doing
yeah, thank you for being vulnerable with me too.
it.
All right, bye everyone.
Like, bye everyone.